Now let's take a look at our little restoration shop we have up here, and we can see what was here before through my eyes again, and then we can walk through and we'll see how we restore cars. You'll notice as we walk through here, all the lights turn on and off as they're all motion censored, so we don't have a large light bill at the end of the day. I laid this out. We have three basic work bays. This is a lift bay, as you can see. There's a work bay here and a work bay here. And then this is the head gentleman. We call it Wayne's World. This is his office. And what we have here, in this kind of interesting, in this work bay, this is one of the cars that we're restoring right now. And actually, today, or right now, we have three cars, two that are under restoration, and one that's getting ready to be taken apart. This is Martina. She thinks I'm the cookie man. So whenever I come up here, she follows me everywhere. This is a 1951 Bentley Park Ward Mark VI drop-head coupe. It's one of 6 of this model that the Park Ward made of the Bentley Mark VIs. This car happens to have cruise control, and it has a grease system. And on this chassis, there's 44 points of grease that need greased. And in the old cars, you had a grease gun, you went out and greased everything. But in this car, there's a little pedal on the floor, and you push the pedal, and all these little lines, you can see these little copper and nickel-plated lines. That's a grease system, and it greases 44 grease points in this car. And the way we restore the cars is we build the full chassis first, or along with doing the body work for the coach. And we're done with this chassis, which is almost done now. You could actually start it and drive it. And then when we're done with the body, we actually set the body down on top of it, which is the way they would have been originally made. Because Rolls-Royce and Bentley made the chassis, and a coach builder, which in this case was Park Ward, made the coach. You can see over here, this car is going to be garnet and cream. It's a two-tone car. You can see we have different colors of garnet in here, and I don't think any of these are going to be, we're looking for something maybe a little darker than this one, and the cream color is a little darker than this one. There's two different creams here. That's way too light, and it's probably going to be a little bit more on the tan side of this one. So we've got a little bit more work to do before we actually paint the car. But this is the right fender of this car, of this particular car. You can see we have the paint charts out, and in the end, that's what this car will be. And this is pretty much how we pick the colors when we're doing a new car, if we're not putting it back to the original color. You can see this kind of long corridor here. And what this is meant for is eventually, like, this car won't be there. It'll be out in here somewhere. And this is where we'll disassemble and assemble the cars. And you can see the workbenches on the side. So we may have cars being assembled and disassembled. And this is the work area for cars that are downstairs or that we're going to repair of the cars that we already have restored. We come up in the elevator, so you get to see the elevator. This is our paint spray booth. Of course, it's OSHA approved. And what you find in here, and this is where we do all of our painting. The second car that we're restoring here is kind of an interesting car. This is a 1935 SS1 Tourer. Now, a Tourer in England means it's a 4-passenger roadster. And you don't see very many of them. They don't really make them today too much, but, and this is the chassis for that car. And from here up, the rest of the body is wood. And right now I have the wood part of this out to a millwork company to make a new frame, wood frame, and then it's covered, the wood frame is then covered with the metal to make the body of the car. And there's actually a large piece of thick ash that sits on these two pieces here, and then everything sits on top of that is wood, and that's what makes the car. The doors, the back. So it's kind of interesting. It's the first one of these we've done. Now the stage of where this is at right now, it's been cleaned, it's been primed, and it's been, any imperfections have been fixed. If there were any corrosion on it, that's been fixed. And now the next step will be to paint the chassis black, which is what it was originally. And then we'll move it outside where I showed you out there along the walls there, and we'll start assembling this car. This car I only bought back about 3 months ago. These are the springs. We had them redone, and we're at the stage this is in right now. We have a little bit of cleanup to do yet, and then these will be painted the color they're supposed to be painted. You see this rack here? We used to own a pizza shop, and these racks came from our pizza shop. Now I use them as parts racks. As we walk through here, you'll see this picture on different shelving and different parts racks. That means the parts on this car or on these shelves are from that car. For example, here's a part from the firewall. Now we'll clean this and do whatever. If it needs plated, we'll plate it here, or if it needs painted, we'll paint it here. And when we're done with whatever's in this bag, it'll look like brand new. Now nothing on this car, since we just started on it, is done, has been completed yet. For example, you saw the springs in there. These hold the springs in. Now they haven't been painted yet, but they've been cleaned. Pretty much done with the cleaning of this car. And we're going to show you a little later on how we clean it. If we look over here, this is, you saw those, if you saw the other film of the finished cars, you saw the engines that are down there. This, we're just starting to work on this piece of the engine, and what we're doing is polishing this. And when we're done with this, it'll look like chrome. And this is the radiator for the SS1, and we're doing all the body work on it, so it looks like it's brand new, even though this is what, 65, about 80 years old. Here we come to the most important departments in the whole building, and it's the pest control department. And here we have Aston and Martina. Now we can see Martina here. This is Martina, and when we named her originally, it was Martin, so we had Aston and Martin. But Martina, we sent him to the vet to get fixed, and we found out that Martin was Martina. So now we have Aston and Martina. And this is where they live. They have their own little penthouse. And she thinks I'm the cookie man. So when I feed her cookies, this is what she's looking for. I don't really think she likes me that much, but that's what she's looking for. If Aston were in here, I'd give Aston cookies and she would eat Aston's cookies too. But the main purpose, you know, everybody laughs when I show them this department, but these cats work cheap, food, room and board. They work 24 hours a day, and they keep the mice out and the critters. Because one mouse in a car with a leather interior can do thousands of dollars worth of damage. So it is a very important part of the restoration shop. One of the things that we do that most restoration shops don't do, we actually redo the steering wheels also. Normally somebody would send them out to be redone. but we found out that we could do it better and cheaper than the companies that we send them out to, and quicker. So this is about halfway done, and we'll keep building this up until we get it thick enough, and then we'll put the black coating on that you typically would see in a steering wheel. So now we do all of our own steering wheels. And then we'll take, and this hasn't been restored yet, this is the steering column. This all needs, we'll restore this part of it once we're done with this. And this is for the Bentley. As we move forward here, this is the intermission room, or the lunchroom, whichever you want to call it. And this is the break room for the guys. And you can see the marble floors. And it's a full kitchen. So the guys actually sometimes bring and cook their own lunches. The parts in this area, when we disassembled the SS1, this is the trunk, this is the actual trunk that was on it. Now it's not original and it's not designed original, so we're gonna have to redo this whole trunk. This should have, this part of it should be on hinges and open this way. So once we get the car done, we will redo and make a new trunk for these cars. And I talked to the people in England, and they were all different because individual teams made these. So whatever that team felt like making them that day, so there is no standard, or there were no drawings for this at the time they made them in 1935. So we're going to do the same thing they did in 1935. We're going to wing it when we get the car built. Here's one of the back fenders for the car. And what that's been done so far to that, it's been cleaned and it's been primed. None of the dents have been taken out, none of the bodywork's done, but that's what will be the next on this, and then of course once that's done, it'll be painted. As I said before, we were in the paint spray booth. The actual body above the chassis is all wood, and it's out to a millwork guy to get completely redone. And so we don't have any in here. The only thing we have here is some of these are actually the wheel wells. So these are made out of plywood, and we'll redo all these here. There'd be two of these. Here's the floor panels for the car. This is what we do here also. There's several floor panels. You can see how rotted out they are. There's 4 panels down here. Here's the steering column, and we'll redo this steering column ourselves also and redo it. This is the convertible top and the convertible top frame, which will be, we'll take this all apart, we'll clean it, we'll restore it, and paint it the proper color. I think black is the proper color, but I'm not sure yet. On this table, we have the chrome that we took off of it that we sent out to the guy that does our chrome. These are not made anymore. This is the back light, and they only have one of them. Didn't have one on each side, they just have one on one side. So all this stuff, the steering, if I didn't have the windshield for this, you'd no way to get one. There's only about 26 of these known to exist in the world today. So it's kind of a very rare car. This is our hardware room. Because we have English cars, and even if you had American cars, we stock many of the bolts and nuts and screws and chrome screws and nuts and bolts, so we don't have to run out to the hardware store every time. And being English cars, we have a lot of different English bolts and nuts here also. We never have all of them. We always do have to run out somewhere or order them online or get them from England, but through the years, we've been able to know what we typically need on any of these cars. Now, it's not 100% organized right now yet, but as we get into it, in about a year, we'll probably have it pretty well organized. When I bought this building, there were 2 XKEs that were sitting in the building. There was a 1967 XKE Roadster, which this is it. And up on the 4th floor, I have a 1969 XKE Coupe. And part of my deal when I bought the car is that she sold me, or when I bought the building, that she sold me the cars along with the building. Now, if we look at this car, First off, Martinez, or Aston's not in there. If you see my other XKE, or if you look it through, this car when we're done will look just like that. It's going to be black. This is not a Jaguar color, somebody painted it this way. But this car will be black with a black interior and black top. But where we're reason it's down here, we'll be taking this car apart next.